Hello there. Hi. Is this working? I think it is. One of these days I'm going to start a stream with just like total confidence that everything's working. No questions. It's going to be like, this is it. It's going. But today's not that day. So let's make sure that my voice is coming over. Like, this is it. Yep, that's me. So I've been thinking about this thing and about a lot of things we worked on stream before. And by this thing, I mean this thing. I don't want to talk about the sun behind his back. That was weird. Why did my desktop there it is. Weird. I don't know if that was an OBS thing or what. So here's the deal. We've been working on this in bits and pieces for like 4 or 5 streams now. And I never really started this thing out with a long-term idea other than just like, oh, let's just make this thing. And that's been fine. And we've learned some stuff. We learned some stuff about Curvy. We learned some stuff about Final IK. We learned some stuff about the lightweight render pipeline, about stencil buffers. Like overall, I think it's been a good learning experience. But even starting yesterday, I was kind of feeling this thing of like, I don't exactly know what I'm doing. So we added a thing where the sun could have babies. And I tried to just spend some time today, like eyes closed, listening to music, thinking like, what should this thing be? And I have to say, I'm a little blocked on it because, well, so last year we did a ton of streams where we would start whatever project and I would work on it while I was interested in it, and then I would move on to something else. And in some cases, we kind of finished those things. Like we kind of said like, okay, this is what this is. We captured it, documented, all good. But in a lot of cases, we just kind of moved on and abandoned things. And I think that's okay because there's part of my sort of creative philosophy is when you have an idea, you just do it. You just start on it and you don't worry about whether or not it's a good idea until you get into it a little bit. And then once you get into it, you can say with some confidence, like, okay, this thing is good or this thing is not so good. And so I'm fine with that part. The part that I'm not happy with is just that, like, we put this work in it and then am I just going to let it fall to the wayside with really nothing but a couple goofy, like, posts on Instagram about it or whatever. And so I would like to land this. I want to land this. And I don't think it needs to be huge. I don't think I have to look at this to be like, okay, needs to be a game and I need to come up with gameplay or whatever. But that means I want to take care of some of the graphical aspects that I'm interested in trying to take care of. And then come up with some kind of hook. And I guess the hook is where I'm a little stuck. You know, my normal go-to is to make things make noise, musical kind of stuff. And I've been thinking about that, thinking about some ways to do that. But I'm a little hung up on that and I don't have a clear path forward. And so I think the best thing to do in situations like this, when you kind of lost your way on the big stuff, like the big story or the biggest picture, but you want to keep moving forward, you know, I could just keep like banging my head against like, all right, I'm just not going to touch this thing until I have an idea on it. But I think that makes it too easy to just let it fall away, particularly because I'm like, well, I'm actually interested in moving on to some other stuff now. So I just want to work on some little bits and pieces here today, some little things, a few things I want to experiment with a little bit. I'm still not totally like convinced about the look. That's a big thing on this is, should there be textures or no textures? Should it be, I kind of liked the totally flat unlit mode, but maybe we should also try out a, I don't know, more kind of cell shaded thing and play with some shaders today. I continue to still be kind of disappointed about the shader graph thing with our outline solution, but at this point I feel like, hey, our outlines were kind of hard fought and so we just want to move forward with them. So let's just do like a little cleanup. We're going to do some chores today, I think, and I don't really anticipate finishing anything, but I at least want to like try some things on for size, look wise, fix some very minor things like the way the dashers are working and stuff like that. So I think that's what we're going to do. Right? Yeah, I think that's the thing to do. So I think the first thing to do is the dashes. And so the way we ended up with right now, that's the only geometry. No, that's not true. It's the spheres are straight up Unity Geo, but these are just Unity cubes, and there's a problem with the way those cubes are made that make our outline shader not work, because our outline shader works just by sort of bloating the normals. And in this case, when you bloat the normals, that's interesting that you don't see that over here at all. I guess I hadn't noticed that those custom passes don't appear in the scene view. I guess that kind of makes sense when you register these custom passes. Anyway, so instead of like bloating and making the cube bigger, it's sort of just blowing the sides off the cube. And that's a pretty common problem in this kind of outline approach. And I think it should be easy. It should be easy peasy to fix. So let's get my LT open. What else is going on? Yeah, we got the newest version of Unity. We figured out the Visual Studio Code problem. The Oculus problem we're kind of ignoring at the moment because it seems to work on desktop well enough, and I don't immediately have plans to put this on mobile. What I do want to do, I need to get a hold of an Oculus Quest because I want to do stuff on it, but they don't seem to be selling dev units. I know some folks through close Unity partnerships at very large companies that have gotten hold of one, but that doesn't quite help me. Okie dokie, so we want to find hello. Let's just put it in here for now. I mean, this needs to be super simple. In fact, I don't even know that we'll bother beveling this at all. I think we just want, this looks insane. We can get rid of all these outlines now, actually. I just don't need them anymore. Right? I think we just don't need that. Why can't I remember where Hypershade is? There it is. I'm sure there's some button for that to make it easy. I was just going to delete the outline material since we're not using it. Okie dokie. So all we want here is just a little dash. So this should be a piece of cake. We just want a little dash. And we want it to be, what did we decide on that? Actually, that is slightly important because of the way these get oriented. I'm not crazy about this. This new prefab workflow, I don't really want to open, I don't want to have to open the prefab just to know a little bit about it. This seems a little weird. So the dash body, so what we have is basically 0.05. So the z-axis is going to be the long axis. And then the others can be half that. It's so tiny. Let's give it a material. Let's assign my favorite material, Fong. Material. So really that little? It seems like extra tiny. Guess we could scale it again as needed, but I do also want to change, trying to do the instead of doing instancing of prefabs, instancing of meshes instead with curvy. But we'll give it a try. It's really that small? That just seems like extra super small. So let's export all this stuff. Can you do that from here? Send to Unity selection. Select a valid Unity UXE. Oh, EXE, because we updated Unity. and have a different version of the editor now. So we want 3.3, I think. Okay, so that was what? Plus? Yes, replace the plus. And replace hello. I should add a shortcut for this, or add a button for it or something. Okay, so hello. And finally, our little dash. And we could do these all as a big thing and then break them up separately, but I feel like it's a little easier if we have them exported separately to do what we need to do. So that should hopefully just kind of update hello and the pluses automatically, which was basically just to throw away that extra outline geometry we had. So what needs to happen to the dash now is what? On our curvy generator, where's your little editing button? Is that not on here? In here, secret hiding me. There we go. Auto refresh. Okie dokie. So what I think I want to do is, instead of input game objects, let's try a input of a mesh. I don't know why you decided to draw a cube there. And the mesh we want will just be our little dash. And then I just want to get rid of this. How do I do that? Go away. Oh, so do we have to do it a little differently when we've got a mesh? Okay, what's the template for this? Create game object. You would kind of expect I need you to create mesh instead. Spots, meshes. Okay, so let's ditch this as well. And then I think all we need is to get spots from here and meshes from here. And how does it work? How do you give it a material? I sort of feel like we need to... Okay, I'm just going to make another generator real fast just so we can see what that template looks like. So we want the template of spot meshes. And so the way that works is there's an input mesh. Yeah, that goes there. Doesn't seem complicated. The only thing I'm just not totally clear on is like, how do you set the... Where would you set the material? That's for the collider. That doesn't seem right. Combine? Like, that'd be pretty cool. Create mesh, but then what? Curvy, you're not the clearest, most intuitive, we'll say, most intuitive tool I've ever used. Oh, material for dash. It's just right here. You give it to... Okay, and then 301 spots. Dash has a bounds of 0.05. The minimum accepted depth is it too tiny? It is admittedly a very tiny dash. Does that make it not work well here? Are we like actually instancing tiny dashes or something like that? Oh, look at that little, I saw it. It was so tiny. Weirdly. Let's make it a little bigger. It seems like there's just something not working well with its tininess. Let's do 0.25, 0.25, 0.5, and then maybe we can scale there if we need to. Send to Unity dash. Now are you happy? You don't seem happy. This auto refresh? Synchronize. That's refresh. Okay. Okay, I have to see very little cute little dashes there that still are having the exploding outline problem. Okay, let's why would that be? Maybe we can force a scale there. Oh! Obviously, it's our model import is scaling to a fraction of its size. Because I still have never quite figured out the correct way to do that. Okay, now they'll be giant. Great. So now we can go back and get back to the size we wanted, which was this. We will do a send to Unity selection, get the dash. Okay. Rookie mistake. Okay, come back here. Good. Okay, so we have dashes. So the issue here is that these are, I always forget which way it goes. Either these are manifold or they're non-manifold. So like if we looked at, I forgot how to see normals. If I just want to see normals. Maybe I should change this to something cooler. What would happen? How do you do that? My LT show normals. Display polygon face normals. Display polygons face normals. Display polygons. Okay, so those are the face normals, which we would expect. And then if we display polygons vertex normals, so that's not what we want. We want these vertices pointing off like from the corners. So right now we have something like this where every corner there's a vertex pointing each way. We want to kind of average those and point them all off. So if we average these, that was not the answer. One of these settings will probably do the thing that I want, right? Set vertex normal. That's not what I want at all. I don't want them set to face. That seems like what they... Vertex normal edit tool. I mean, I guess one answer would be to select a group of vertices. I don't really want separate vertices for this, though. I feel like that's part of the issue here. Or, I mean, are there actually 3 vertices here? Seems like there's just one. Why is it acting... Probably gonna do something weird to how this thing's displayed, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so by averaging those, we know it will sort of bloat properly, but is that gonna make the rendering of this thing totally broken? The answer might be yes. Ah, looking great. Well, maybe the secret there is to just add a little bevel. I mean, would that be... Is that a better solution? Just to add the tiniest little bevel? That's not tiny. Like... Maybe, right? I think about that. That adds a whole lot of extra geometry to this piece, which I'm not crazy about, but well, maybe that's okay. Send you to Unity. Dash. That didn't seem like it actually worked. Is that because I need to mess with curvy? Because those don't really look like they are those look like our little rounded dudes. I'm missing something here. I kind of would have thought in this case that okay, we don't want we don't need to see the face normals. Let's not do anything first. Look at all these normals. Is it because of the hard edges? I mean, maybe that's all we needed. I feel my phone blowing up. Did I not do that right? Selection, the dash. Did I accidentally overwrite something important? Possible. Doesn't quite seem right. Let's see. Okay, you're soft here. So is it curvy is still not up to date? Okay, that just got smooth. Yeah, okay. Look at that. It doesn't look good, but it is doing, it's working as expected, but it looks bad. So that's just my fault. That's not anybody's fault but mine. So this is kind of interesting. So combine. Interesting how it changes the rendering by combining. Although that's sort of cool because when you're drawing a whole bunch of stuff otherwise. Now that could be partially because we need instancing. I don't think we're really doing it right with in fact, that's weird. Instancing's making it worse. Could be how I'm doing the shader. The outline shader, the outline part of that shader is probably not correct as far as instancing goes. In fact, I'm almost certain it isn't. I think we just didn't add that stuff. Although with instancing off, it kind of seems fine, even if we don't combine the mesh. I think combining the mesh is cool. Like just in the general idea of it is kind of cool, but I don't know if we really need to. Do we need tangents? I don't think we're using them for anything. I don't need any. Doesn't even say auto. Or no. I really need normals? That's cool. Just save the mesh to the scene. If you combined it. Now what I'm a little confused by though is why when we combine it, does it mess up our ability to, like, it changes some things. I'm just trying to see if those things only get applied. Like combine and make static. So what's the real problem with this? The real problem with this is it looks worse than it did before. I feel like it looked better. I guess the shape of that's not great, which we could add more subdivisions to the bevel. Also is a little dense, but I feel like it just doesn't look like something's lost in translation, because I feel like it looked a little better before. Not you. What were they like before? We made them very flat. Maybe that's the real difference. I mean, that was with the old outline setup. But maybe I prefer the flatness. Also, there were nice, yeah, nice hard edges on the outside. Also, the way the lighting is just kind of noisy. I don't know. It was better flat and simple, I think is fair to say. So the thing about that is, if we really like it flat and simple, then there's just kind of no point to having geometry anyway. Like, we could do this as a line render kind of thing with a tiled image, or a ton of sprites. But I think I think the flat is better because this is just kind of visually noisy. Somewhere was the this thing. Does this actually work? So you can do that. Like, I'm just curious about making it super skinny. If we could. That just feels like a noisy mess. Feels like a mess a little bit. So what does our outline shader do on a quad? Does it work, or is it awful? So if we had a quad with the dash shader, yeah, I guess in that case the normals are, maybe we could manufacture that in some way and have some meaningful normals, but in this case the quad normals don't make any sense. But maybe we could do that in a way that did kind of make sense. If we had a quad that was in the ZY plane, can we do that? That was 0.05 and 0.25. Is that what we said? 0.025. So little. That seems backwards. Oh. What did I just do? Oh, vertices, yeah. If we wanted to display polygons, vertex normals, are there just none? There are not any? Without a thing that doesn't exist on a just plane. Oops. Get in there. Okay. The normals are all crazy. Well, that's my own fault. So, oops. I guess I could manually do this. So this is like set to the face essentially. I don't want to reverse them. The vertex normal edit tool. So I grab this. How can I make it snap to 90 degrees? You would think I would be able to hold something to do that. Yeah, that's sniff. Okay, yep, great. Does this thing not snap? Kind of annoying. This is essentially what I want to do. I want these just facing off like 45 degrees. But I would like that to be exact. Yeah, so I grab these and do 90. Nope. Let's just make up numbers until this works. God, I got problems here. Hey, how about that? And then I want to do these on the y-axis, 45. Oof, this is not. I'm having some problems here. Oh, it's gonna overwrite. What is the way to do this? I feel like this shouldn't be that hard. I want these to just point off, like 45 degrees from center or something like that. Like. So I like essentially want this. Is this really applying both of these? Because it's applying them in a given order. Okay, so wait, we'd want this world, I guess, and be like. Oh, come on, I thought that was going to be it. I want the world space Y rotation. Why is the gizmo not in world space? Okay, well that's a little weird. 45 on the Y, which is nothing. I kind of would expect it to do something though. Okay. Well, that's not quite right. 90? That thing is happening. That thing is happening where I'm fighting Maya because I feel like I would just want to do something not crazy. Is this what I want to do? So I want it to point 1, 1. Okay, this is what I want to do. But I just need to be negative in one of these. Nope. Like this one, for example, should be this. Yes. And then this one, if the Z is negative, that should be good. Great. And in this case, the Y should also be negative. What a lot of trouble. This is going to really break. That was probably a bad idea. Oops. Okay. I mean, this is what we want in terms of how we want our outline to work. But this isn't going to look good. It's going to look terrible. If we use lighting on those. Which we don't have to. I mean, there's a million different ways we could do this. But what is the right one out of 1 million? Okay, so just as an example, we can have this jerk. Let's call this guy. Oops. Wrong shortcut. So this no question is going to look bad in terms of lighting. Got it. Let's just overwrite. Oops. Dash. Like, pretty sure this is going to look bad. We're just we're experimenting here. So I like that in terms of the outline. I mean, I feel like that's closer to what we wanted as far as like the flat thing. Issues are, one, there's no back faces, which is fixed easily enough in a shader if we make another shader. And excuse me. The screwed up normals, of course. But that's only because they're lit. If they weren't lit, it would not matter at all. So that is a possibility. We may just decide the dashes don't need to be lit, but do need back faces. So that would mean a different shader for that, which is no big deal. It's easy enough. But it also seems like a lot of trouble for what could just be a bunch of sprites. Like, this could be graphical flat elements. So that makes me kind of think about, so one of the other things I was thinking of adding that would be interesting to add is black holes. And I was thinking like, oh, maybe we need some flat elements for that, et cetera, et cetera. Like we would be generating some flat assets. Maybe even for his eyeballs, we would want flat assets. But I don't know. I don't know about that. Look, all this outline stuff, our outline strategy, I still think is pretty cool, but also seems to largely be a pain in the butt. I think our other dash with one more subdivision, but thin, actually would not be horrible. Like one more subdivision in the bevel so that it would have something to extrude out in that direction instead of being sort of that weird capsule shaped thing. Might be a thing we could do. Let's try that before we go crazy. Let's get one of these little fellows back, and let's get back to, I think we did 0.005 here, 0.25, 0.05. I want to try the skinny guy again, which is weird. Maya won't let me go that small. Why do you show thousandths if I can't go to thousandths? Seems weird. Okay. Anyways, let's bevel this and let's add more geometry to it. And let's make sure that these are smooth normals. This is the thing that actually matters, now that I think about it. It's the smooth or hard. When you want hard edges is what the actual problem is. It's the smooth edges are what will work fine with this, this strategy. So if our edges are soft, we should be good. So, sinless unity, dash. Probably break everything again. Not quite as offensive. This turned into muddy little blobs, and I like the hard, I like the hard edges on them. Can this dude take multiple materials? Like if I had a object that knew about 2 materials, could I give it? So the hard edges are what's good on the dash, right? We don't want the rounded outline, not into. But our outline strategy does not work well with hard edges. So that kind of says we just need to adopt a different strategy. Although, you know what? I should look at this in VR because maybe this dash looks amazing. Maybe the dash with this approach looks great in VR. It looks fine. It looks very noticeable, like more noticeable than I would prefer, I think. We can pull back on the outline a little. Maybe I don't mind it that much. I don't know. I also don't want to like go into a rabbit hole of messing with Unity interface. Did you see that? I don't know if that showed up on stream or if it was a GPU thing. That did not look great. Like if we were just less a little less intense with that. And then this stencil buffer would be like just a 0. Oh. Figure out what random numbers I put everywhere, because 2 seems to be where the planet is. 1 seems to be where the pluses are, so the pluses need their own. 2 planets can be 3. Hello can be, I think it's hello and eyes, and then arms can have their own. Seems not too bad. This place doesn't look great, but that place doesn't look great anyway. I think we just have some bad, like, do we even need that control point? I feel like that control point was just making things look a little gross. We just have too dramatic of a change in depth there, maybe. Similarly, over here, I think this would look nicer if it kind of swooped around there, maybe? Whoop. Might be too much. I don't know about these dashes. I just don't know about them. I'm gonna call them satisfactory, though. They're better than where we started today. They work in the realm of how we're rendering everything else, so we don't have to do anything special. So I think they're okay. I would like to animate them. I would like to have some sort of animated offset thing going on, but I don't quite know how to do that. And I feel like our whole staging, I just hit the microphone with my head, didn't I? Our like whole staging fits within, I don't know, like a 45-degree slice, when really we could comfortably go to like, I'm sorry, no, we'd probably fit in like a 90-degree slice, or we could be more like a 120 or 160, just so you got something going on when you look left and right. But these dashes are growing on me. I think they're okay. Maybe we'll play with them at a later date, but at this moment, I think they're all right. I think they maybe should just be like way bigger and off further, so to have a similar visual effect, but sort of appear behind stuff more, like the bigger periphery planets. Also, where this one is right here is no good, just because it's so much in the arm area. It's just too easy to collide with that, which we're doing okay now. I mean, that doesn't look great, right? Like the way those outlines are interacting would be just better if that didn't happen. Oops. So this thing that we did yesterday, I was thinking about, and I mean, there's something that's kind of fun and satisfying to it, but I don't really know what to do with it. Like, I don't want to just fly at your face. It doesn't look good, and it doesn't work very well. And they could have some kind of thing where they sort of flew off and then followed some curve and like landed in some predetermined location. What I was thinking might be funny is if you could do this and then you could drop them and a black hole would open, which I kind of like that idea. The black hole would be a little annoying to make, and it's a new thing. And again, we're trying to land this thing, trying to just be done. So another thought is to just sort of make all of these things kind of musical and pulsing and bring them to life a little bit, and then the sun could just kind of play along, like not necessarily spawn these balls like this, but maybe just have some little thing he could play with as he moved his hands together and apart. Because also just visually, I don't know that I'm crazy about this. There's something I do kind of like about it. I was so indecisive about this project. I'm just not sure where to take it or what to do. Right, little sunshine guy? You feel me? You feel me. Sunshine guy feels me. So here's what I think I want to do for a minute. We're at like an hour. I am kind of interested in I have a thought on how to do like a really easy cell shaded thing. And then we would just have kind of our own custom material that knew how to do the lit part and the unlit part, and it would just be kind of easy peasy. We could add textures and stuff if we want to, but at this point, I don't know that I even care about textures. I would kind of like some textures in the background, like going back to the original drawing. There's some noise back there that I kind of like, but we're so far from this sort of chalky kind of thing that I don't think it matters that much. Ooh, the speech bubble. I forgot about the speech bubble. Do we need a speech bubble? Bobble? A speech bobble? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna do this. I just wanna go into this shader, which is really our only shader right now. It's just got so much stuff in it, and I don't really care about most of this stuff. Like, I'm not planning to do shadows in this, so there's my outline stuff. Do we need this meta stuff at all? We're not going to bake any light maps, so let's get rid of it. We are not going to do depth only passes, I don't think. Maybe we would do that if we needed to render some kind of effect that relied on depth, but I don't know. So really that just leaves the main lighting pass. And global illumination, emission, and fog. Just got all this stuff I don't really care about. So in this light input, like, I don't care. You know? And we just copied and pasted that anyway. It's not like there's anything really special about it. I kind of want to just delete it all. Is that crazy? HLSL. Currently only GLES. DLES is not. Like, do I care? I don't think I care. I don't care about shadows. Emission. I'm not worried about at the moment. Occlusion. I'm not gonna even have bump. Let's ditch it for now. Specular highlights and glossy. We wouldn't do in that way anyway. Like, we want outlines, and at this moment we want color. Like, no. And then maybe like all this stuff. I don't care about any of this stuff. Only problem is where all this stuff is set here. But what if I just don't have it? What if I just kind of delete every single thing? I don't care about any of these comments. Great. Forward lit should still work. I mean, this is gonna break everything for sure once we save it, but that's okay. It's not happy with me. That's weird. Are the normals on that weird? So I don't want any of this. I don't really want any of this. The HLSL thing is a little weird because normally like shaders that is CG program, but maybe this is a lightweight render pipeline thing. Okay, so we accidentally have some basic lighting without even trying because that's just what's going on in there. Let's just ditch instancing now, although I would like to try to add that later. So we need some macros here because we need transform object to H clip. Must be in the macros library. Oops. It's in core. So we apparently need core. Wish I could just go to definition of that. Oh, come back. Okay. So what I think we want to do is that's what we're passing along. Let's just use this same thing here. Let's ditch this, which is our like little bloaty dude. Okay. And then we do need color. So at this point we want okay, so this gives us, this is our totally flat shaded cartoony version, and it should still work just fine, right? I hope. I kind of like the way it looks, actually. There's something, I'm kind of into this. I will say that. Like, this totally flat thing is kind of charming. I could add more vertices to my dude there, so his outline wasn't so jagged. Most of the outlines look very smooth. Really just his, the density of that sphere isn't what it could be. Same for the bigger planet. But in general, I think this looks pretty cool and looks pretty funny. So the thing we want to add is the basic lighting. This shirt is falling apart. Corey Schmidt's Boy Genius gave me this shirt like 10 years ago. And it has somehow survived. Okay, so yeah, we want to do the thing. So the thing is this, is we want to know, we just need to find an example of this. The Unity manual, not surface shader, because I think we can't use surface shaders, which I've never liked them anyway. I think we have to use vertex and fragment shaders, because I believe surface shaders get broken into multiple passes, and you can't do that in lightweight render pipeline. I could be totally wrong about that, but I believe that is the case. Anyway, vertex and fragment is what I know how to write anyway, so I'm more comfortable with that. So we just need that simple, good old-fashioned dot product light trick. Which really is just about adding this. Now, the thing that might be difficult is object world normal, like stuff like that. I don't actually know if that stuff works in lightweight. So you know, maybe what we should do instead is go look at the lightweight render pipeline package and look at its shaders and look at its lit forward pass and see how it does it. So if normal map, I don't really care about normal map. Normalize normal per pixel. I just want the one light though. So maybe we can figure out what's going on in the shader. So it has its instancing stuff, it has its stereo stuff. So we could add all that, no problem. I don't know what that means. Vertex position inputs, vertex normal inputs. Was that plural? Weird. Vertex lighting. Well, we don't want vertex lighting. SH is the spherical harmonics of the lights. I don't, what is normal WS? That's just, those are stored in texture channels? What? So there's normal OS, which is just the normals. I don't know what any of this means. So normal OS. I don't really know what it's talking about. Transform tangent to world, but is there no... Maybe we should look at the simple lighting. The simple lit. Input, simple lit. Forward pass. Because I just don't know if we're going to have the same thing, you know, the same normal to world or whatever that we had previously. So in shader library, in core. So we can get an object to world. So this is Unity object to world normal. And I don't know. I mean, I guess we can go look at that and figure out what it's doing. Transform object to world normal. Oh. Oh, I see. World space and object space. Got it. That's interesting. Okay, so transform object to world normal. I think we still... It's just it has a different name, but... I wonder where that's declared. Macros, maybe? I sort of would have thought it was here. Maybe it's not. Okay, so that seems like the thing we need there. So that seems easy enough. So what do we actually want to pull off here? We don't really care about, you know, like the ambient lighting. This is where it does this SH9, which I think is spherical harmonics. We just want this stuff. The world space light position, I'm not entirely sure we're going to have. I don't know if we're gonna have that or not. That's okay. We'll figure this out, right? So back to our dude. Basically, just want to cram this in, and then that diffuse. The way they do it is they pass that diffuse parameter there and then do that all in the... I don't know why you need to do that though. Do you need to do that in the fragment shader? Couldn't you just do it in the... Couldn't you just mess with color? I guess if you got to send color across anyway. Maybe we'll do it that way. Okay, so the thing we need is we've got to change this. I'm just going to make the assumption that it is this same function as transform object to world normal, because that sounds like what it does. So the world space light position we don't have. Lame. I want like a... So that world space light position, let's see, lightweight render pipeline, world space light position. This is not That's not what we want. What do they call it? Why did Windows just make a noise at me? What do you want, Windows? Light color 0, world space. This kind of implies that that should still work. For now, let's just do something and say like that it is it's up 1 unit. No, I mean to the right 1 unit, up 1 unit, forward 1 unit. Okay, yeah, then diff. So I wonder what NL means in this context. It's probably obvious. Normal light? I don't know. Like, what does NL mean? Because it's like a 0 to 1 value representing the ratio of how much you're facing the light source. Okay, so let's add a this must maybe needs to be negative. Okay, so that is like some very simple lighting that just says that how is the, we talked about this before, with like the angle of any of our faces, what's their relationship to a light source, which in this case, the light source is just a made up vector position that I put 1, 1, 1, which is fine. So, and then it would be kind of nice to have some amount of ambient, which we could probably get in a real way, but I also kind of don't want to. If we could sort of just fake our own ambient by just adding you know, like never let it go. Okay, so we're getting like some gross vertexy stuff because I should really be doing some of these calculations in the pixel shader instead. Is that why? So that NL value they had, well, let's go before this. They multiply it by light color, but we don't really need that. And they just add that. They add that? No, they multiply it by, yeah. But they do it in there. So instead of this, we could do a like float for. No, it's just a float. What are they passing that as? Well, they multiply it times a light color. So they call it a light because there is a light color. Can I have more than one color like that? They're gonna get mad at me. Yeah, I need like, I do this? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so we'll try this where we'll just pass the color like this for the time being, and then we'll say Oops. I don't know if this really makes a difference or not. Let's see. It's still grubby there. This was maybe not the way to do this, like the ambience. Oops. Oh well, let's leave this for the moment. Do it like this. The ambience you could just add an amount to, basically. It's kind of a lot. I don't know, it gets so gross on those normals. Anyway. Probably because that's not the way you're supposed to handle ambient lighting. Okie dokie. So I just don't want to darken so much. That seems like I should be able to like multiply this times 0.5 and then add 0.5. Is that crazy? That's not horrible. Still grubby. He's got a grubby chin. It's because these could be floats. Like, is that better? Any of these halves could just have more. I don't know if this really matters that much. Oops. Okay, so now we have our own lighting, but this is the thing I really wanted to do, or at least try, is mess with this. What do they call NL? What do you think that means? Dot product of the normal and lighting direction. I'm just gonna call it the dot. Oh, the NL just kind of doesn't seem very clear to me. So the thing I want to try, can I not use that because dot already means something? I mean, it's kind of like the lighting intensity, right? Is that fair to say? I don't know. So then the thing I just want to try to do is this thing where you round to a fraction. So we want intensity equals so for example, if you wanted to round to the nearest eighth, I think you do it like this. Like you multiply it times 8 and then you round it and then you divide. That did something weird. That looks so weird. That's not that's not what I anticipated happening. Can we not do it there? Is that the problem? We really need to do it in the fragment shader and have some value. Let's just try this. Can I just send a float? So confused sometimes about like what you can actually reasonably. I don't think I can. I think it's got to be something known. But even going from the vertex to the fragment shader, I should probably learn that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so not doing this here. We would want to do it. Okay, so like let's see. We just want a really easy. I mean, I'm sure there's a billion examples for this. Yeah, that's not what I want. I don't want to like hard code steps. I thought there would be a way that if we want sort of a cell shady thing, in a normal direction. Okay, it could just be that the way I was imagining this is not the way it's done. I just want like let's see how people do this. I want like a really simple tune shader. I want it in here. These are surface shaders. I don't want that. Let's try to spell correctly. Yeah, this is kind of what I was imagining, is this multi-cut thing. So how do they do that? That's a surface shader. I don't want that. I'm gonna do smooth step. That still doesn't seem. I feel like there should be an extremely easy way to do this. But not the easiest way, because the easiest way so this is doing the really? In the fragment shader. Should I be doing all that in the fragment shader? Maybe I should. Where was this? All this stuff. No, that was in the vertex shader. Fragment shader wasn't doing very much. Yeah. Ah, it's old. It's a 10-year-old thread. That's pretty close. Wait, isn't this what I just tried to do? Isn't that exactly what I just tried to do? And it didn't work very well. Did I not write it correctly? That was exactly what was in my brain. But perhaps my brain did it wrong. It's a normal between that vector, yeah. And then what did I do? Floor intensity times the step count divided by the step count. And it just looks like a hellish nightmare. World normal and the light vector. That's what we got. Is it because I'm messing with that after the fact and I shouldn't be? Like, and I guess if this is going on, oh good heavens, ruined it. What did I forget? I'm not doing great here. Well, so am I supposed to be doing all this in the fragment shader? Cool. Look at that. Well, I mean, I thought I did that thing. But I didn't. Should that be in the fragment shader? Is that my issue here? Yeah, I want that 3-tone thing. Pinterest sucks. Okay. Well, nuts. We don't need this. I mean, I don't know, it's very possible I'm just missing something very silly. Like, should this all just be in the fragment shader instead? Oops. No, my thinking may just be all wrong. So we need like How broken is it? I, not V. Okay. I did need to be in the fragment shader. I needed to be in the fragment shader the whole time. It's all my fault. Should have known that because I need to be interpolate. Yeah, right. It's a pixel problem. I should have known this. I should have known this. So if we want just 3 stripes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm a little confused by that. Are we messing with anything else? No. Why are there that many options? Four out of 2. I guess it makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So, well, I don't like this at all. I mean, this is, then with this thing we could say like, well, we only want this to really contribute 50%. Or even way less, like only contribute 25%. What do I think about this? I'm really not super into it. We could move the light much more forward. It's got a weird look to it. And we could even only give it like, let it contribute 10%. I mean, there's something to it. There's something I kind of like about it. In general, I would kind of say I'm not into it, I think. We could instead do a smooth step. Is that what we want? What was the other, actually, what was the other? Was there a previous example in that thing we were looking at before? Not this one. Our other friend. The one that, the window I probably closed and still wanted. Oh no. The worthless Pinterest one. Where'd that one go that I liked? We'll never find it ever again. I found it. Yeah, like sampling from a gradient. Did think about that. I thought there was a simpler one though. That used smooth step. Because we basically would want to say, well, we don't want a smooth step unless we wanted the edge a little bit soft. We just want step, right? Like, if it's above something, it's 1, and if it's below, it's 0, right? So if we just gave it a step, so the edge is, if we say 0.5, and then the value is our intensity. Yeah. So that would be the very simple version. And then we would potentially do the same thing here where we said that we'd only let this ever contribute 25%. That's not so bad. I mean, I could even say even more subtle. I should make this one number also. Do I like it? I kind of like it. What a lot of fuss for such a simple thing. I still don't know. Maybe I still like the one that's more lit. I'm pretty sure I don't like the stepped one. Like, that just wasn't doing it for me. I guess we could come up with a way to make it so the steps were a little more localized to the shaded area. Like in this case, like combine these two techniques basically. Oh, he looks pretty cute with that. It helps give the hands a little bit of definition, which I like, although there's angles at which it doesn't look super great. It definitely lets the pluses have a little something going on, and the planets have a little something going on. I think I like it. I think maybe this is what this is going to look like. Mostly looks fine. As we shoot balls into space for no reason, so I don't know why exactly we're doing that, but that's fine. We can dance. What do we think about this? Is this the answer? I need a good screenshot, so let me just pose here for a minute. I'm kind of into it. I mean, particularly because the next thing I'm imagining is way more like lush, lit, material-rich, outer spacey thing. So I'm kind of into the idea of having a super simple version for this. Right? Okay, so what do we accomplish today? We fixed the dotted line where it's not offensive. We have come up with, we've made some choices, I think. There's some sorting layer problems, or some, we want all the babies to be on a higher, stencil buffer reference, I think. They might be on like 6 now to be in front of the hands. I don't remember. Maybe we want the hands in front of them now that I think about it. No, that seems right. This gets a little weird when the hands go inside, but hey. Okay, so, well, we did the thing we were going to do today, right? We were going to pick off some little bits and pieces. We picked off some little bits and pieces. I feel pretty good about that. I still don't know what this thing is, but at least it's a little more of the thing it is. Do I really like the cartoony version? I think I kind of do, just because it's a little different. I kind of like the ultra flat version, so we could even make this like barely contribute. Maybe this is not a good idea. I should really add this to the shader. Just give it just a little bit. I don't like that as much on the pluses. I like having a little bit. I mean, we could make it a per material thing where the individual materials got to decide. That would be very easy to do, certainly. What are we gonna do next time? The two routes are this, I guess, is either when I think about what this thing needs to be and like what are the next right answers for making this into a thing, even though it's going to be a minimal thing, are either it's about the sun making things. Like the sun, it's about like whatever you make there. Maybe you're making planets or pluses or whatever. I don't know, but that's what it's about. Or it's about music, and it's about the sun's just kind of there dancing while other stuff makes music. And maybe you could just kind of look in a direction, and when you look in a direction, it will kind of highlight a thing, and you can turn it on and off, and it's just a thing that like turns beats on and off. That would be a very simple thing, but could be kind of fun. The thing that it's a little sad about going to the super flat world is I was imagining sort of a weird space rave with lighting, but I think we can do it without it. Anyway, again, the whole idea is we just started this goofy thing, and we just want to land it. We just want to land this thing, document it in some way that is a little bit charming, and that'll be good. Maybe we'll throw in a few more models of things like little spaceships or stuff like that, or whatever, just to fill out the space a little more, or just to have like some other things to take pictures of for documentation is a thing to consider. But anyway, I think I'm done for today. Thanks for joining me. I hope you, I don't know. I was going to say I hope you learned something, but I don't know that I was doing anything. The only thing that I feel like you can ever learn from my stream is just the attitude of like, figure it out. If you don't know how to do it, you figure it out. Because I don't think I do a great job of saying, oh yes, you do this and this and this. That kind of expertise. Anyway, thanks for joining me. We will talk soon. Bye.